And we back.
We back.
Welcome back, Nerfherders, for the second part of our season 3 premiere. Welcome.
That's right.
Uh yeah,
We're gonna
first
burn through
episode.
season 3 if we're doing 2 in a night.
Oh my god, we're going to let's not do that.
hmm
We might have a couple cuz I've got a vacation coming up, so we might need to stack
Yeah.
some episodes before the mid-June.
hmm
But yeah, let's just dive right in cuz we've got more to talk about. I think HBO Max was probably the big one so far. Let's jump into that real fast.
Yeah.
Because we'll talk about Clone Wars after we talk about everything else.
And Clone Wars has been delayed, so yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
let's get into HBO Max. So HBO Max launched this week. Have you? I know you already had HBO, and I signed up for HBO Go or Now or whatever it was at the beginning of the month when they had that special. Have you logged into Max yet?
No, I had HBO on Amazon channels as part of
Okay.
my Prime membership. Now I don't know if that carries over. I didn't get an email saying, "Hey, do HBO Max instead of this Amazon Prime channel thing." like,
hmm
so I honestly hadn't looked into it because I had uh, it on my Amazon Prime already. I was like, I don't care. I didn't look into it.
Yeah.
But when I did look into it, it looked like it wasn't doing so hot. like,
I mean, it seems to be back and forth on whether or not it is, and I get the confusion because the simple look at it was when, and this is coming from Bloomberg, on day one it saw that around 87,000 people downloaded HBO Max on day one, and of course the hot headline was, well, this is trailing behind the 4 million first day downloads for Disney Plus and the 300,000 first day downloads for Quibi. So that was kind of the hot headline was, wow, HBO
fucking
Max
Quibi.
isn't even doing as well as Quibi. But here's the counter argument to that. Well, a lot of the people that already had HBO, it just turned into HBO Max. So they didn't need to download it on day one. They already had it. It just turned, like, even on my phone, um, it said it was already installed. I just needed to update it, and then I would get the new menus. So I think that probably was part of it, was that people already had it, so the day one numbers weren't really significant.
Yeah, and I'm probably subject to part of that because like when you go to their website and you ask what's the difference between HBO Max, HBO Now, and HBO Go,
hmm
which, as far as I know, that still isn't answering the question of what's the difference between that and my Amazon setup. They say
Yeah.
the biggest difference is what you can stream. HBO Max is a standalone streaming platform where you can stream all of HBO together with even more of your favorite series and blockbuster movies, plus new and exclusive Max originals for everyone in the family.
hmm
HBO Now and HBO Go are your options for streaming all of your HBO favorite series, plus hit movies, specials, and more, which sounds like the same thing.
hmm
HBO Go is a streaming service included with your paid HBO subscription through a TV or mobile provider, and HBO Now is a standalone streaming service that lets you stream all of HBO without a TV or mobile package.
Yeah.
So
I
it
I
sounds like
think
the real big difference here is that they're adding more content to HBO Max on a regular basis.
yeah.
Um,
And they're starting out with a lot. I mean, look at all this stuff here. This is HBO Max. I just pulled mine
Yeah,
up.
yeah, they had
I
quite a
mean,
bit in there, and honestly, if I had known that Looney Tunes was going to be in there, I might have jumped in right away because
and,
I love Looney Tunes. I love the classic Looney Tunes anyway. The newest stuff,
and it's new. I mean, it's new this week. New Looney Tunes as well.
yeah,
So,
but I'm not into the new stuff. I'm into the old classics, but
well, and it is crazy because yeah, it's not just there's HBO. They've got the HBO stuff here. Like your
yep,
Game of Thrones, your Outsider, your Watchmen. But then they have Turner Classic Movies. They've got Crunchyroll. They've got Adult Swim, Cartoon Network, DC. Um, like I was surprised to find, what did I find on here that I was excited about? Well, other than all the animation stuff that they're involved in, but there were other shows too, like TNT's The Alienist is on here for some reason, and other shows like Batwoman is on here, and other things like Big Bang Theory. So there's a lot of content on here that you could watch. Um, I don't understand this, but this looks real. This looks pretty smooth on my computer, and it looks like this on my phone as well. But when I pull this up on the app on my TV, it doesn't look this smooth. It looks really weird. There's a lot of spacing issues. I don't understand why,
Well,
but
launching, just
yeah.
launching. They're gonna have some stuff to work out.
Well, and there's other issues like it's not on Roku. It's not on a couple other main ways that people get. You know, Roku is huge. A lot of people get their apps still through Roku, and they didn't launch with that. And it's kind of weird how they chose not to launch with big platforms like that from the get go. Like, why wouldn't you just make sure that was going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, so we're kind of coming into that thing. It's that same conversation that we've been having, to where this is the new cable package. Oh man, something just like felt like something just went in my eyeball. That was weird.
Oh, HBO Max did.
Yeah. Hey, pay for me, damn it. This is the new cable package. We're gonna start seeing streaming services offering all of this content, and honestly, like I don't hate it. Like, I'm not against the idea. But the thing that we're gonna see here is that with more streaming services come content providers being like, hey, HBO wants to pay us to. HBO is wanting to give us some money in order to put our content on here to draw more users, but we're already on Netflix or we're already on Hulu. We're gonna start seeing, like, I mean, we're already seeing it. Like, it's already happening. Like, Disney Plus didn't even have Infinity War until just recently, because they still had like, it was still playing live on Netflix, and so you're gonna start seeing a lot of that. So far, just based on what you're scrolling through here, I'm seeing a lot more stuff that I'd be interested in watching on HBO Max. I love, but unfortunately, they're all in that last chance category you're just looking at there.
Yeah, it's weird that there's a last chance still, but yeah, I mean that's what you're saying.
And honestly, last chance is bullshit. Like, it's gonna be back in there. Like, it's just a matter of time. It's like, when is it actually gonna be back in there? I'm not at all surprised that this is gone the way that it's gone, and honestly, it's gonna continue like this. But the more that we see, I want to say that the more streaming services that we see, the more competition, and healthy competition is a good thing. But I'm worried that we're gonna end up running into the same problem that we have now with current cable and satellite companies, is that we're gonna see no competition between them. It's just gonna be different content, but you have to be signed up to all of them in order to see what you want. But again, we're not looking at contracts. Like, HBO Max is also not requiring a contract. You cancel whenever the hell you want. They're offering a trial. So yeah, maybe I'll give it a 7-day, give it 7 days and see what I think. And if it's better than what I have access to through my Amazon channels, then yeah, I'll close it down, because I'm not looking at a huge price difference there. It was like, to add it on to my Amazon channels, I think it was around like $10 or something like that. So,
well, individually, when you're not doing it that way, it's what, $15.99 after that free trial. So it is, I believe, the most expensive streaming service out there to date.
Yeah, it absolutely is. But it's looking like they've got quite a bit of content in there to compensate.
For those worried that it was going to be like HBO Go or HBO Now or whatever, I mean, there is a ton of stuff on here.
Yeah. I saw that they had the Meg on there. Did you see that movie?
Yeah.
I was entertained. It wasn't great, but it's still entertaining to watch.
We could talk all day about that. I loved the book. And the book was a horror book, and that was not a horror movie.
It was not a horror movie a comedy. At all. It was very much a comedy,
which saddened me. I enjoyed it, but it did sadden me. I mean, that book used to scare the shit out of me, and it was so well written.
I'm just sad that they turned such an interesting concept into a comedy, because it was like,
yes,
oh man, I would love to.
Dude,
like,
I still
deep
have
ocean
that
stuff. Always gets me.
Do I have it up here? No, it's downstairs. But the book cover, the original book cover, said Jurassic Park meets Jaws, and here's the context of that. This book came out when that sentence was not laughable. Like, that sentence was, holy shit, we got to get this book.
Yeah.
You hear that sentence now, it's a joke, So it's a different time for sure. Do they have all of the DC content on here? All of the DC app stuff? I
Yeah,
wonder
they got. Oh, Steel. Oh my God.
where was that? Oh yeah, that's right. That's
Steel and
right.
Catwoman, they didn't pull their. They weren't worried about it at all. They're like, you know what? These are crap movies. We're putting them on anyway.
Oh, they got Green Lantern on there too.
Green Lantern. I'm sorry, that wasn't as bad as Steel or Catwoman was.
No,
Catwoman was
it
hot
wasn't.
garbage.
Interesting.
Yeah, they
Do
got
you
the
see the
classic
Nolan
Batman
films?
collection there.
Do you see the
No, I do
Nolan
not.
films in here?
No, but I
Where's the
think those are on Netflix right now.
Oh yeah,
I think a couple of them are on Netflix. So
one of
like
the
that's what
best.
I'm talking about, right then and there. Like we're there's gonna be exclusivity for a lot of stuff. I love that they've got the animated stuff in there though. The animated Batman features. That's great.
Well, that's just
Uh,
like how there's some Marvel movies still on Netflix right now and not on Disney
yeah,
Plus.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
I mean that's just the
It's
case.
it's exclusivity deals. That's what we're gonna be seeing. Where they're gonna be like, you know what, we don't want to lose. We don't want to steal a bunch of like the people who are actually putting it out, the studios. They're not gonna want to. I'm gonna stop it here. I'm gonna popping into Netflix here real quick. Oh, look at that. Okay. Those are not up in there right now. Let's check Hulu.
Just Google whatever you're searching for in streaming platforms.
But I've got them right here. Yeah, Batman Begins and The Dark Knight are on Hulu right now.
Hmm.
You know what? Rise of The Dark Knight Rises is the only one that I haven't seen on a streaming platform yet. I've probably missed it, but yeah,
Yeah.
still. Yeah. Here we go. Like right here in Hulu, Batman: The Killing Joke. Watch with HBO Max add-on.
Hmm.
So we've already got cooperation between HBO and Hulu.
But
Which
interesting
is
enough,
interesting because Hulu is owned by Disney.
right?
I mean, is Disney own fucking HBO to some degree? I mean, I
Yeah.
know AT&T is like the parent company for Hulu and all that crap now, or for not Hulu, HBO.
Warner Brothers, yeah.
Yeah.
It is. Ooh. I've been wanting to see Primal for a long time. Have you seen this?
Negative.
This is from the dude, Samurai Jack, and everything. This is his. I heard this was really good about like Neanderthal teaming up with the T Rex. I heard this was amazing. I got to see this. Um, let's stop right now. I need to watch this. No, I.
So
It
yeah,
is interesting.
if you're wanting to add it on
Mhm.
from Hulu, it's still the full price. It's $14.99 a month.
Well, it is coming with a lot. I do think it's
Yeah,
interesting
yeah.
they went the same route as Disney to where it's not released in Europe yet. And like what is I'd love to see a roundtable of the streaming platform
I know.
guys to say why they didn't just do that. Like what is the benefit of not releasing it in Europe? Can you think of any from your tech side of things?
There's certainly a possibility of some infrastructure bandwidth issues that they might have to tackle
Mhm.
because they're subject to different laws over there.
Okay.
But I mean, again, I'm not as experienced in theirs, so
Mhm.
I couldn't say 100% that would be what's holding them up, or if there's some different agreements that they have to do as far as hosting over there. I'm not sure.
The the only thing I can think of would be maybe it's a rights issue with some of the content because
That's probably a big
like
part of it too.
like the
It's got to be
Netflix
it's going to be some legal thing, I'm sure.
right because I mean and some people might be able to notice this if they have the right VPN. I don't. Netflix knows when I'm using my VPN, but um,
Yeah.
there's the Netflix that we know here in America is not the Netflix in the rest of the world. The Netflix in the rest of the world is like the window to most of what we see on regular cable. Like Netflix has deals with a lot of our cable channels to show that content in Europe. So it's not just the movies and the Netflix stuff that we see, it's also like some TV shows and stuff like that on what they see as Netflix. So it could be something about that, like the how HBO Max is able to get the rights for all this stuff in Europe. But um, I
Well,
think this is
we'll
it's
we'll
an
see where
interesting
they
launch.
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see where they go with it. I think a big part of it being kind of like a lackluster launch is that we've seen so many other streaming services out there, and
Right.
maybe it's not different enough. because this isn't HBO. This isn't HBO's first streaming service. So I think that's really the big thing there. Is just it's not different enough to get
I
people to
think
jump ship from their other HBO
I think
streaming
that might be
services
part
onto
of the
this one.
problem. I think they called it HBO Max because they thought that would be a unifier because they thought that would be something that people were already comfortable with. But in the end, it's kind of become more of like the problem. Like people are like, okay, I mean, you just said it at the beginning, but if they didn't hunt down that article and pay attention, what's HBO Go? What's HBO Now? What's HBO Max? Like,
Yeah.
you don't get that confusion with Netflix. You don't get it with Disney Plus and Hulu. You know what Disney Plus is. So maybe that
I
was
was
a
like
mistake.
Hulu is probably the most confusing out of all of them because they've got so many different add-ons that you can throw in there.
Yeah,
But still, it's very straightforward.
right.
And here, like you said, HBO here. Like personally, I have not seen enough as far as HBO Max is concerned to want to uh, increase what I'm paying compared to like having it on my channels in Amazon Prime right now. It's just not. It doesn't. I'm not sold.
Well,
It doesn't look like enough to me.
I'm excited for the Snyder Cut, man, but that's the thing. What was
Yeah,
the biggest
yeah,
news about HBO Max as far as the content? It's something that's not supposed to come out to the end of next year.
yeah.
What did Disney Plus have on day 1? What did they have? Day
Mandalorian,
1.
wasn't it?
Mandalorian, man.
Yeah,
It
it
was the
is.
Mandalorian and people
Well, not
could
just that,
not wait.
they had a bunch of they had like their entire
Oh yeah,
Disney
no.
catalog that you
They
couldn't
had a
stream
ton.
anywhere else.
They had a ton. But they
they had a
had
bunch of they had a bunch of stuff that people did not already have access to.
right.
This is HBO launching with definitely a good amount of stuff that nobody's had access to or currently
Yeah, I
doesn't.
mean they do
But
have
still a huge. I'm
these
sorry,
are their day 1 originals right here. Does any I mean, I'm not saying I haven't seen these, so I don't know if they're any good, but does any of those
none of them are
strike you
getting me
as
excited.
Mandalorian? Yeah, I've heard
None
this
of them
is
are getting me
good.
excited.
I've heard this on the record documentary is good, but none of those are Mandalorian
Yeah,
level.
and I'm sorry, but Game of Thrones is not a big seller for me for anybody anymore. It's just not having your HBO original series in there isn't a big thing. Yeah, Westworld is good.
Yeah, but again, you if
Euphoria
you
sounds
already
good, but
had
you've already got
you already had a
access to them on
version,
other streaming services, so it's just like,
right?
what's the point? But
It's interesting. You want to keep going?
let's jump on. Yeah, let's keep going because
Okay, what do
we
we
gotta
have
talk about
next?
Clone Wars. I made you wait way too long,
I know you did. We got to
we
get
got
to
to
the.
jump
Now
through
I'm
some other
making
stuff
you
here.
wait. uh, so one more thing we had. Let's see. Where's the article about this? So did you see Upgrade when it came out? The movie Upgrade.
Nope. No, I did not.
Really? So
No.
you haven't seen Upgrade?
Nope.
Okay. Well, this is. Did you
I
see
told
The Invisible Man this
the
year?
most recent one.
Yeah.
No.
Oh my
Like I
god.
said, I'm not a horror guy. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well,
I told you I wasn't gonna watch it, and after they copy claimed our trailer reaction, I was like, "Fuck you guys!"
Okay.
Like, I don't care. I ain't doing that shit.
Well, this is from the same guy, but this is why I don't see why you don't see this because this is yeah, it's horror in that it's coming from Bloomhouse, but
I need to change my opinion on that. Like there's definitely some good horror out there.
yeah.
But unfortunately, like a lot of the horror that I was exposed to is really just hack and slash or
Okay.
straight up jump scare you the
But
entire time with like annoying teenagers.
but this is definitely 90% sci-fi and 80% or 90% sci-fi and 10% thriller. I don't think anybody would call this a horror movie.
See, I can get into that. Like I had never even heard of Upgrade. You're the first person who's actually brought it to my attention.
Okay, well, it's fucking amazing. It's basically about this dude. He I don't know, I can't remember how, but he's got this friend who is kind of like the guy the kind of like the guy in Invisible Man. He's in the tech industry. He's doing like new age shit, and he's super fucking smart, and he's about to make a huge change. And he's like, "That's cool." He's got the main character's got his girl, his wife. He's got a great life. He doesn't make a lot of money, but he's a hard worker. In the beginning of the film, it's kind of in the future a little bit. Their automatic car breaks down. They get jumped, and his wife gets killed, and he gets fucked up. And the only way to save him is pretty much to turn him into RoboCop. and his friend has a chip that you put it in the head, and it kind of fixes you from internally. And when he wakes up, he's able to move again and everything, but he can hear a voice in his head, kind of like like Alice or Friday or whatever Iron Man had. He can hear that in his head, and he has control over his body. But if he gives control to the voice in the head, he's able to do things quicker and faster. Very much like, did you see the new RoboCop movie?
Yeah.
Like the remake. So there's that scene where he's shooting all those guys in the warehouse, and they're like, "Wow, he's able to do this." And Michael Keaton was like, "Well, he thinks he is, but it's really the chip in his head that's kicking in. He
Yeah.
thinks he's doing this, but it's really the chip." In this movie, it's he grants permission to the chip, and then the chip is able to access everything, find the guys that killed his wife and stuff like that, and he goes to hunt them down and kill them. And it's fucking crazy. And it's a small budget film. The action was incredible, and I loved it. And apparently, they're turning it into a show. So,
Well, just the first part of it actually kind of reminded me of Deus Ex: Human Revolution. Did you ever play that game?
yep.
Or ring any bells?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that I really liked that aspect because it's that level of augmentation. And then we also have Elon Musk. This is also relevant because he's got Neuralink that he's working on, where he's talking about it fixing a bunch of stuff from the inside.
Exactly. Exactly.
So yeah, that's a relevant piece of media. No, I'll have to check the movie out for sure.
Well, it's coming from the team that let's see, a writer's room has been put together to write the first season. Crystal Houghton and James Rowland, who ran the second season of The Purge. And I don't know if you saw The Purge on TV. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't terrible. I actually kind of liked it. So I have high hopes for this.
Didn't care.
Well, I know. I love the Purge movies. I think they're interesting political satires. But Upgrade was a fun movie, and depending on if this comes out on ABC or NBC, I'm not gonna watch this shit. But if it comes out on pretty much any other channel, I'll watch it. So yeah, I'm excited.
This sounds like something that would make more sense on a premium or like a streaming service, because you don't want to see something dumbed down.
Oh yeah,
by like a broadcast, like a family friendly broadcast channel.
And the movie featured like people with a lot of like upgrades, like a shotgun in an arm and stuff like that. I mean, it was brutal. I loved it.
Yeah, no, that sounds up my alley. So maybe that'll be the first movie that I do as part of my Josh got mad at me because I haven't seen this video series that I was gonna do on the show.
There's so many in that series.
There's so many. Like I've got like an entire season of videos that I can make just off of shit that you're mad that I haven't seen yet.
Right.
No, that's my goal for 2020. Like for my goal for 2020 is like things are starting to ramp up. I'm starting to get busy again on like the video and photo side. But that's gonna be my goal, is to watch content that I never did, and actually like finally catch some new stuff. Finish Westworld. Check out a bunch of the movies that you showed me. The next 2 seasons of Clone Wars that I haven't seen yet. Actually,
my gosh,
making sure that I catch up on those. Rebels, Star Wars Resistance, all that stuff.
Have you watched all of Rebels?
I haven't seen anything in Rebels.
Oh, all this time I thought you have seen Rebels. Okay.
Nope. I haven't seen anything in Rebels.
I just finished Rebels, so yeah, we got so much to talk about, man. It's interesting. It's so interesting.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've not had the chance to like really grind through anything. In the month of June, I'm not going to get a lot of that done.
Yeah, man, it seems like that time has passed because things are starting to ramp up now.
Well, yeah. My quarantine. I was never really fully quarantined because I was an essential worker. I had to go to work every day.
Right.
But yeah. No, I'm totally doing that series now. It's just decided. Josh got mad at me because I haven't seen this.
It's a long title.
I was like, what is it? It was like JGMAMBHST. That's a 10-letter acronym for that fucking video.
Just shrink it down to Josh got mad, and then Josh got mad.
Maybe the my friend showed me series will just be something that we double up on. Like
Yeah, there you go.
we have our individual ones.
There you
We'll
go.
just keep it simple, and I'll give it the subtitle when we actually jump in there. It's like Josh is mad 'cause I
Yeah.
didn't see this movie.
And
He's
me and
like,
you can we can do like a skit. We could do like the Clockwork Orange skit where I like strap you down to a chair and like open up your eyes, and then I
that'd be a
force you to
great
watch the
intro,
show.
actually. That'd be a
Yeah.
great intro for that. Uh,
Yeah.
well, no, I'm stoked to see it. Like honestly, I'm not super excited about shows that are built off of movies. Like I really liked Limitless, the film Limitless, and then I saw that there was a show coming out about it, and I was like,
It wasn't that good.
That's dumb. It
They
wasn't that good.
turned it
Okay,
into a
well,
fucking cop procedural show.
okay.
It's
Well, then
it's
I'm glad that it didn't that I didn't
but
get into that then.
things like this where it's a bottle film that it was like really interesting, but you could have expanded on it is great. Like the first Purge movie, you were given this world where apparently there's a purge. The purge exists. But instead of focusing on the world and how the United States came to be like that, it was literally focused on a house and a break-in story that you could have done without that purge. So that's why it was neat to see the other purge movies where they elaborated on this. This, you're in a world with augmentation and all this crazy shit, and you're literally just following this guy and his revenge story. But there's clearly so much more about that world that I would love to expand on, and I could see that being a great show. So as long as they do it right and they don't just turn it into every other show, but with this type of character, I think it'd be cool.
I'm I'm game. Like I'm up for good content.
Good content.
And especially when it's like good sci-fi stuff, that tends to be in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll give it a go. But speaking of sci-fi, the moment of truth here.
But
Did you have
bam,
anything else? We got to talk about Clone Wars
it's here.
'cause,
Clone Wars season 5.
season 5. Like I said, this was the last season that I had already seen.
Mm-hmm.
In this rewatch, 6 and 7 are completely new territory for me. So, and yeah, after seeing season 5, I'm like, oh boy, yeah, season like after and like kind of like reliving those events.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously, for any Nerfherders watching, we are going to talk spoilers. We're going to discuss the whole season. We're not going to save you from spoilers. So be sure to abstain if you are not caught up. Which I'm the one who's gonna be the most behind for the next season. But yeah, like I said, 5 was the last season that I had seen. Obviously, the last arc. Like when you came over earlier today to grab some equipment, I told you I was rewatching it because like I didn't get it. Like when I did my rewatch, I was like watching it in the background. So I wasn't really catching on to it. There was some
Mm-hmm.
stuff in the last few episodes that I didn't quite remember going down the way that they did.
Right.
But
I'm gonna pull it up on my phone because if I pull it up on my computer, then it blows us out of whatever we're doing. But I like looking at it on Disney Plus because I can see the thumbnails and then kind of remember things. Because I've watched so much animation, Disney Star Wars animation in the last couple weeks. I got to remember what season 5 was all about.
well, honestly, let's just jump to my I'm gonna pull up the list too. But it was actually the Gathering storyline. That was the great thing about this season is that they had split off like 3 to 4 episodes for each
Mhm.
little arc, and so you're almost getting like little 1 hour Star Wars movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we talked about that the last time we were actually talking about Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like that. I like that we're getting continuations. It's not as sporadic, which is obviously probably why season 5 is one of the higher rated seasons in the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, Darth Maul coming back. Like we only got a little bit of that in the very beginning, but yeah,
Because we only got a little bit of them in the very end of season 4. They wanted to give you a little taster, and then we'll get back to Maul a little later. Yeah.
And then seeing Saw Gerrera was nice again. I had kind of forgotten that he was in this season. Like I wasn't really anticipating it. I remember when I watched Rogue One, I was like, he seemed familiar, but for a while I was like, that doesn't, like, I don't remember him. Like, but yeah, seeing him in there was pretty neat. but
Well, let's.
yeah, the gathering storyline was honestly my favorite out of the series, and it was really because of the ceremony. Like that was a big part of being a Jedi, was crafting your first lightsaber, finding your crystal, and they went through it in a very chaotic way. But it was really cool seeing Ilum. It was really cool seeing how, well, first of all, seeing the first Wookiee Jedi that I had known of. So that was great. I thought that was really cute that he got his own little, like, he got it like his full on wooden lightsaber. I remember loving that the first time I saw it, and I loved it even more on this rewatch. Yeah, and I talk about this in an upcoming episode of my Fallen Order playthrough, but one of my favorite moments from one of the reasons that the Gathering quest kind of hit me so hard, specifically around like the lightsaber and the crystal gathering, is that in the Knights of the Old Republic series, that was like my favorite moment in that game, was when you first ignite your lightsaber after going through some like pseudo Jedi trials. Because you spend a huge amount of the early part of that game without a lightsaber, a good amount of it without knowing that you're a Jedi, and you end up getting trained and you go through all this stuff, and then that moment where you finally you assemble your lightsaber and you turn it on for the first time and the music swells, like it's just a great moment. And the lightsaber is an iconic piece of the Star Wars universe. It's the iconic piece of the Star Wars universe. And so seeing these younglings going through this and learning a very valuable lesson that the crystals are teaching them through the Force was great. It's like you needed to learn patience, you needed to learn courage, you need to learn selflessness. Like it's just good. Like it's just great storytelling. It wasn't. I think they could have used a different character other than Ahsoka to assist them. I think it would have made a little bit more sense for another Jedi Master to have accompanied them. But I like Ahsoka Tano. I like Ahsoka, so I mean, I was fine. But that's like literally the only real complaint that I could think of. And it's not even a complaint. Like it's just like it would have been a minor change, if anything, to just have like a full member of the Jedi Council, or just a Jedi Master accompany, even if it was Obi-Wan.
But they
Anakin.
did, though. Are you forgetting? I mean, they had Yoda.
Yeah,
Yoda was
but
there.
He was there. Yeah, but for the remaining 3 episodes of that storyline, it was just Ahsoka with them.
Well, because
Yoda
things...
was already on Ilum.
But it wasn't. I mean, that wasn't planned. You know, it wasn't planned for them to get shipped. You know, in all the problems with the pirates and stuff like that. That
no,
happened.
but if you're escorting a bunch of younglings, I would imagine that you'd want a master there with you.
Well, this was a time where they weren't worried as much about that. I mean,
well, they were at war, and so all their masters were generals who were fighting in the war. I think that was the big. But like I said, it was such a small thing. I didn't even fixate on it. And
I didn't know if I was
gonna. And Ahsoka did a great job with them. So.
She did. I didn't know if I was going to like it as much, especially when we started off with this. I was so tempted to fast forward. We had come off with such great. I thought we had some great storylines in the beginning of this season, and this was kind of like the second major arc. This speaks to the Clone Wars, because you, as a show, in these later seasons, when they just start building off these great arcs where it starts off something like this, and then it goes to that planet with how they find their crystals. And I've watched a lot of Star Wars. I've played a lot of Star Wars games. I didn't know anything about that. I've never heard of that. I've never, I'm sure it's somewhere in some Star Wars lore, and I've never seen that. And I thought that was really cool to see these guys, and to see like some of these confident and I'm going to find my crystal first, and it turns out to not be, and how they're being tested in the cave, and they have until like the ice wall freezes over. I thought that was a really cool episode. And then to find out that it wasn't done, you were going to actually be with these younglings and Ahsoka for a few episodes, as they kind of found themselves in trouble, and they were tested, and they had to it was kind of like Harry Potter and the wand. They had that robot guy that would help them
Yeah.
assemble and pick out their
The
lightsaber.
Ollivander droid.
Right, but they had to like learn how to do it. They weren't just handed it, and that was a trial for some of them, even like some of the ones where you didn't think it would be a trial for. I really liked it. It was really great storytelling.
Then you got to see what happens when you build a lightsaber wrong. like,
Yes, which is
that was good.
interesting.
I was like,
Yeah.
hey, it's an exact science. This isn't just a fucking. It's just a great bit.
And you had
No,
my guy Hondo was I love him, man. At first when
he's
the
straight
first
up
couple
pirate,
seasons
man.
I didn't know if I'd like him, but every time he shows up, I'm like, fucking Hondo's back, man. And he was kind of a villain, but still a likable villain.
Yeah,
Like
he's a pirate. Like he's straight
Yeah.
up a pirate. Like he definitely got a lot darker with Ahsoka the way that was the way that he did that when he was like, you've cost me profit, so now I need to find a way to make profit out of you. It was like, oh shit, okay.
which is interesting because the literally the episode before these episodes started was the finale episode of Ahsoka helping out those rebels on that planet,
Yeah,
and it
he
had
brought him
ended.
he brought him some weapons.
Yeah, so it was like, yeah, Hondo, good
It's
on
like,
you, man.
he
And
made
then
some, but it was all about money for him. He made some
Yeah.
money off of that.
the next episode, she got in his way, and I loved it. I was like, yeah,
It's like,
Hondo.
he doesn't care. Hondo's a great pirate, man. Like, he's a classic.
He's a
space
great
pirate.
he's a great character.
It was funny
Testament
that
to
you,
the show.
It was funny that you mentioned the impulse to like fast forward at the beginning of the gathering because that was kind of how I felt through the first in the secret weapons storyline with the droids. First of all, because I had already like I said, I had already seen it, so it's just like I don't know that I really want to watch this again. But I sat through it, and yeah, it the first episode in it, I'm still not like a super big fan of. It was still kind of weak for me. But the missing in action episode was where it like really took off for me. Like, because honestly, when they're lost in the void, I was just like, this is not. It wasn't as compelling for me.
It drug out a bit.
Yeah, it just dragged. But yeah,
And
missing in action was
their
was
little
great.
commander guy was getting on my nerves. Yeah,
And it took me a bit when he noticed that he was a clone. I was like, and he said that he was a commando. For a second, I don't know why, but I thought he was one of the commandos from the Republic Commandos game back on like the original Xbox days.
Oh yeah.
But that game is out of my memory so far. Like I remember enjoying the hell out of it when I played it, but I could not remember the storyline for the life of me. But yeah, I ended up looking it up, and he's not. But
Yeah.
I looked up the game because, like I said, I haven't seen 6 and 7. And I didn't want to look up anything Clone Wars related as far as that character.
Yeah.
But yeah, I looked up the Republic Commandos game, and none of them were named. None of the 4 troopers were named. It starts with a G. Fuck, it's on the tip of my tongue. The hell was his name?
Shoot.
It wasn't like Gareth or something.
It was oh gosh, I'm blanking on as Gaskin.
No, that's the command. Gregor, because I remember it was like, Gregor Clegane. No.
Oh yeah.
But I really loved his moment, his sacrifice moment. Was so good. They really rushed through it. I wish that they had found him in A Sunny Day in the Void and kind of established that, because that was why that episode dragged for me so long, is that they just didn't do anything until like the very end. We realized
it was really interesting at the very end. Yeah.
And then yeah, they go through the missing in action, and even the bulk part of that still kind of dragged. And then the very end, and then the finale episode, and then that finale episode, I was like, holy shit. The finale of that specific episode. And the music really got me again. Like, the music and his sacrifice really got me again. And then we jump right back into the final episode of that story arc. And again, it felt like it was dragging for me. I couldn't help it. Like, it was a tough one for me.
Anytime we were talking about him, because this reminded me of this episodes in the episode in the last season where they came across another trooper who had left and raised a family. In this case, that wasn't the case. He had been hurt, and he had been not
hit
really
his head or something,
brainwashed,
and
but yeah, he had like amnesia and he was told a different thing and he kind of forgot that he was a trooper. So it was anytime you have these side stories about these troopers outside of the armor, I just loved it. I was just brought into it each time. But yes, there was some dragging in this, and I was disappointed that you had such a great, interesting storyline around this guy. But yeah, we had to wade through the void and everything to get there.
well, and then they kill
And
him off.
I know,
Like,
and it was just like really. Um, and I was like, the ship is right there, but then you find out that that's not the ship. That was a trap and everything. But yeah, he ended up
it
being
was a
such a
great
minuscule
line.
part.
It was a great line that he had, though. It was like they were trying to get him to come along, and he was like, "No, go ahead." And then what was his exact words? He's like, "It's okay. You guys help me remember who I am."
Yeah,
And
yeah.
but the music, like the music is
The
so
music
good. Like
was great.
You come into that so many times in this series, and especially in this season, because it's actually the like the final storyline where you start hearing like the Imperial music playing it again. With
Well, and then
Ahsoka and Tarkin and all that.
he also was badass at the end because he had all these forces coming in from either side. And what did he do? The same thing I do in the games. He aimed for the explosives.
Starts
He was
blowing up
like,
barrels.
how much shit can we explode? Is gonna buy me more time. I liked it. And this is interesting though. Before we start talking about any other ones, I feel like our roles have changed a bit since I know what's coming and you don't. But when you're talking about things like this that have points in the character in the arcs of these little arcs that drag, but it's ultimately forgivable because there's so much other good stuff in the season. In these later seasons that get a little shorter, I'm wondering if you're gonna be as forgiving because I had some issues. But in these type of seasons where they were so long,
Gave me something to look forward to now, didn't you?
I know. And these because season 5 still had how many episodes? It had 20
Season 5
episodes.
is 20 episodes.
So you can forgive some lagging if the bulk of the season, um, you know, if it took a little long to get to some of these things, but still the bulk of the season was awesome.
It was 3 for me. It was 3 episodes that really dragged, and that's too many. And they were all the same storyline. That was too many for me.
You better cherish these moments. That's all I'm saying.
Don't do this to me. Don't do it to me, man.
I'm just saying, you better cherish.
Things did amp up though. Things
Yeah.
amped up with probably the most high intensity storyline of the whole thing. And that is Maul and Savage
Yeah.
being found by Death Watch and just fucking shit up. And man, did they did a great job of that. Like, first of all, I love that they brought in the Black Sun again. Like they've made a lot of appearances in other pieces of Star Wars media. As a very notorious group, and Darth Maul and Savage. Like I remember like almost shitting myself when Savage throws that double saber and just beheads a goddamn table full of the Black Suns, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't think he realizes what he just did. This time around, I'm like, he doesn't care. Like,
he doesn't. No,
he's not gonna care. Like they're not afraid of shit.
No.
I remember. God, I'm trying to think back to what I originally thought the first time I saw the episodes, and it's tough. But because I've got them fresh in my head now. I remember specifically, like as soon as they mentioned Mandalore, like it was just like, okay, yeah, this is gonna be where Obi-Wan loses his shit, and he didn't. Like I hoped he was going to. And honestly, like I said, I thought that I remembered him going a little bit more rogue, but I must be thinking of something else because that wasn't the case. Like I said, this one's foggy for me. I guess I thought that, like, because I remembered him like going against the Jedi Council's order and going to Mandalore to help out Satine anyway. Yeah. I could have swore that I remember him going a little bit more dark than that. But yeah, like he really kind of kept his composure as far as Obi-Wan's concerned.
He's Obi-Wan.
Yeah, he did fine. But yeah, the whole premise of, like, this isn't something that we've seen in a lot in a lot of instances other than in the Clone Wars, where you've got and this also applies to Asajj Ventress, where you've got Sith breaking rank and fully going rogue and breaking the rule of two very frequently. Then again, I don't know if Savage really considers herself a Sith anymore. Um, then again,
I mean, after everything,
she,
yeah.
but she still fits the bill, honestly. But Darth Maul and Savage, they absolutely consider themselves the true Sith, and then a true Sith comes in and kind of ruins that for him.
Yep.
It was great. It was great seeing that scene again because I remember rewatching that fight scene between Maul and Sidious on YouTube several times, just to relive it in between this playthrough because I remember loving how it went and just well, first of all, let me discuss, like, this was my favorite fight in the entire season was actually between Death Watch and Maul. What was it? Pre Visla. Seeing that fight again was really cool because and I got to give credit to the voice actor again here. Just the intensity that he puts into Darth Maul is just perfect, and the sound that he makes when he beheads him was just absolutely guttural. Like, it was just, oh man, it was like you could feel the rage when he did that. The voice actors are real, like, they really stepped up their game in this season. I feel like this was really one where they were like, you know what, we're gonna go all in, and I appreciated it a lot more this time around. It was just, but yeah, I gotta give Maul the MVP of voice acting in this season. It's like he wasn't in nearly as many episodes, but damn, the episodes that he was in, he did such a good job.
Yeah, and this fight, I remember when this fight happened, and I don't know why, because I knew it was gonna. I mean, the story, it was clear that this is where it was going. But I just
Yeah.
remember still being caught off guard, like, wait, is this actually about to happen? And then it really does. And then I was like, because I at this point I was binging Clone Wars so much, I was just going through them and going through them.
Yeah,
And
you were.
and unlike other shows, like sometimes I just watch until I pass out at night, like and it could be 3 a.m.
Well,
But
that's why you're so fucking far ahead of me on everything.
I know, but I wasn't doing that with Clone Wars. Like, I wasn't like accidentally sleeping through 2 episodes or anything. I was watching it all. And I remember when it got to this point, and I was like, is this the first time we've seen Darth Sidious like really come out and be Darth Sidious? And it was. And I was like, did I miss something? Like, this is season 5 and it took us this long to get to it. And I was like, that's kind of a little crazy that it took us this long. But then the payoff is like, I mean, when you saw this matchup, it was just like, holy crap. It was well worth the wait. I mean, he's pulling out the double sabers. He's taking them on at the same time. They're going at it, and and he's just. I remember how weird it looked for him to be moving around sometimes versus Yoda in episode 3. But boy is flexible. Boy is flexible.
The way he fought in episode 3 was just
but
unforgivable.
if he's fighting this way now,
so weird.
Then I mean, because he still fights weird here. Like, nobody fights like this. This is just weird. But he pulled it off, and he was badass. Like, he was the winner. He was the MVP.
Like,
he
was playing with Savage. Like, there were some moments where he was like kind of strained against Maul, but yeah, when it came to Savage, he was like, you're nothing, which makes sense. Savage is not as trained in that method of combat. Like, he's not anywhere near that caliber. And even though he's a bad guy, I still felt bad for Maul when his brother was killed. Like, that's the connection that they had managed to make. It didn't hit me as hard this time around because I knew it was coming, but still.
Yeah.
it was just like, yeah, like just hearing like, and again, I got to chalk that up to Darth Maul's actor, whose name I can't remember again.
Mm. What's his face from the other stuff? uh, Darth Maul voice actor. I know I always forget his name too, but he's great. He's so great. Sam
something.
Whitworth.
Sam Whitworth. Okay.
Yeah. Whitworth.
I was gonna say Sam Harris, but I was like, that isn't right. That's definitely not right.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother guy. How'd you feel about Ahsoka and her ending?
So that's the crazy thing, man. That fight with them going up against Darth Sidious was not the finale. Like when I realized that there was another arc after that, I was like, "What? There's still more? Like, how could they finish? Are they just gonna do like an anticlimactic season ending? No,
No,
they did not. They
No,
did.
not.
They did some of the best storytelling you've ever seen, and
they went all in too. They're like, all right, we're gonna see
so
one of our.
much.
They're gonna see one of our favorite characters. Was this the thing that you were talking? Because I remember you sending me a message at some point that this was. I think it was this season was the most frustrating for you. Like this is when you were the most frustrated. Was that this season?
I don't
because they did Ahsoka dirty in this.
They did her so dirty.
Like she got the short end of the stick. So, and a friend, like her friend, did her so dirty. That was the worst part.
Well, and it's crazy because, and granted, they had forces pushing her. Like the Jedi had politicians and everybody around them forcing them to act quicker than they probably would have. I think calmer heads might have prevailed.
And it was already Tarkin who Ahsoka really didn't like in the first place. Like she was already at odds with him from the last season.
Right.
And
but I mean, think
like,
about
to have
all
him
this...
be like the main person behind like the real rough attempted apprehension for her. That made it even worse for her.
But I mean, Anakin had gone off and done so much shit in the past, and he was always kind of given this leeway and this chance to explain himself. And I think Ahsoka deserved more faith than what she got. But what was what set all this in motion? Remind me of how this started.
So there was a bombing at the Jedi Temple who they tracked down to a non-Jedi, but he was fed like his
like
wife
those nano.
Yeah, he fed him nano droids that exploded. And that again, like that's pretty messed up because like you got to wonder how far away we are from nano, like because there's nanotechnology in the world now.
I know,
like they're being used, and you got to kind of wonder what application those might end up getting fully used for. But so Ahsoka is requested by the wife when they apprehend her because she fed him the nanorobots.
Yeah.
And I just watched these episodes today. I can't believe I can't remember their names. Like I can't remember the perpetrators' names. God, it's driving me nuts. I'm gonna look here. Is it Letta? Letta was the wife of the person who was killed, whose name is also not listed here. But yeah, she requested Ahsoka specifically in order to talk to her, and then as she is confessing that, as she's like giving Ahsoka the information that she wants, she's force choked.
Oh, that's right, in the cell.
Yeah, but Ahsoka looked like she's trying to like get her down. But
but on camera, it looks like she's doing it.
But to somebody who's not educated in the Force, like Tarkin, it looks like she did it. And then also conveniently enough, the audio was gone from that recording. Like they didn't have the audio portion of it, and so
convenient, yeah.
And Tarkin already didn't like Ahsoka, so he had no reason to be like, oh yeah. And they had also had like kind of an interaction with her beforehand. Where Anakin and him ended up talking in the elevators, like she's still super young, he had a negative light that she had been shining into Tarkin for already, and a big part of it was that a big part of the pressure was that Tarkin believed that this was a Republic military matter.
Yeah.
That it wasn't a Jedi matter, and he was actually the one who was really pushing for her to be expelled.
Yeah.
Which
That's right.
which eventually ended up happening. Like
That's right.
they cut her braid and everything. Like it was just
They went hard on her, and
yeah.
I wasn't frustrated. But I do remember like this. They had a fugitive moment where she was like in the
Yeah,
she
like
was in the water
the whole thing
drain,
was based on
and he was
The
like, "Come with
Fugitive.
me," and she's like, "I can't." But they had this. Let me show you this picture. They had this is a fan art of the scene, but I remember she's running. It's dark, it's rainy, it's moody, and she's running from everybody. And it's dark and it's rainy, and they've got spotlights, and she's running with her lightsabers out in the dark.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like, are you trying to stand out? Like, what is it's not too hard to see a girl running with these bright ass green lightsabers in the middle of the night. It's like, no wonder they're able to catch up with you. But yeah.
Yeah. This was the I think this was the season where like, or was it the entire season? Like they do themes around the names of the episodes, and I know for sure, particularly these were based off of Hitchcock pieces. So the Jedi who knew too much was obviously the man who knew too much, and
Yeah.
so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To catch a Jedi. Yeah.
and then I think this is also another big part of helping out the prequels as far as Anakin is concerned, because this was another injustice that he believed the Jedi committed, forcing her to leave, also expressing that he has had issues with being with the Jedi as well.
Yeah.
And this also I think this also contributes to his turn eventually.
But he
Like,
kind of betrayed her. He didn't betray her, but he didn't help her as much as he should have, and I think he felt a lot of guilt for that.
But he was torn. Like it was a tough thing for him, like because he's also dealing with like the Jedi who he's now known pretty much his whole life.
I mean, Ventress helped Ahsoka more than Anakin did.
Ventress, Anakin did not like that. Like,
no, he did.
Anakin was not a fan of that part.
He almost messed Ventress up. He was like, "What? Where is she? What do you know? What the hell are you doing in this?" When he finally found Ventress, it was like, "Whoa, calm down, Anakin. Slowly roll. Like, don't straight up kill her."
I mean, this also like helped me like Plo Koon even more. Like he was like he was already like a favorite off of the council, and he doesn't get anywhere near enough attention in the movies. Like I hated that, but it also made sense. So I'm really glad that the Clone Wars were like I was really glad when the Clone Wars gave him more of a platform.
Well, and it was also it's a big part of her arc. I think Ahsoka, she's always had
Plo
a
Koon was
connection.
one who found her. It was that was a big part.
It was a big part, but then the other thing of she's always been like very personable with a lot of the clone troopers, and when it looked like she escaped the prison and killed a bunch of clones, they were not fucking happy, and they started hunting her down, and it was just the kill order and everything. I mean, they wanted revenge on her for killing all these clones, and I felt for her, and I was so pissed that someone would just
like that was another thing that contributed to Anakin. He's like, no, that's not what we would do. Like he wanted.
Why would we just assume?
He wanted her to face proper judgment. Like he didn't want her to.
Yeah.
He didn't want to go through Tarkin's bullshit. But
right.
But I think that continued to push Anakin down that road of not being it, and then ultimately her deciding not to return to the Jedi.
And what did they think was going to happen? Like at the end,
like that was
they just cleared her, and they're like, "Hey, we're sorry."
Like, yo, sorry about all that. Hashtag forgive us. Like
yeah, like be be with us
my
again.
bad just isn't going to cut it in that situation.
And it was so lackluster. It was like, but you understand why we thought that way. And I was like, really? All of the shit you just put her through?
You basically told me straight up, yeah, we don't trust you, even though we've known you forever, and Tarkin's a dickwad.
They disowned her. They let her out to dry. I mean, even Anakin was like, we should be handling this, not them. And they just they just let her go. And I was like, how do you do that to one of your own, you know, so easily?
Yeah.
It was so weird. It was so
And
weird.
honestly, it was more exciting for me at this point to see that, knowing that I've still got 2 seasons to watch, and I know that she's in them. Like I know that she's in those final 2 seasons. Uh, so yeah, uh, but yeah, that moment that they closed out on was super emotional. That was
It was very emotional. I
yeah,
mean, just her walking away, that's the way to end a season right there.
yeah.
And when we got to that point, I was like, okay, you because after that mall fight, I'm like, how can you end this show better? You know,
Man, the way the mall fight ended though, there's another thing that I didn't mention was like Maul was Palpatine's line to him. It's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna kill you. I have other uses for you." And then he just sits there and continues to torture him. I'm like, "Shit,
I know,
shit."
that was crazy. Um,
but
but yeah, this was
yeah,
the very sad,
that
shocking
was
ending.
and
I did not.
that her walking off into the sunset. I think like we've seen that in a lot of different pieces of art. That's in reference to a lot of different things too.
Yeah.
Normally when they're walking off into the sunset, it's a happy moment though. This was rough.
But this shot right here and everything about this, because you mentioned it before, it was Anakin knowing that he'd been pushed to the limit so much before. You know, like he had gone down this path. He had thought about leaving the Jedi. He had been tempted to leave the Jedi. He
She
had,
says I know.
and she
Like
said, "I know."
she knew. Like that's
And
so
yet even
rough.
still she was like, I'm not gonna, you know, you're I'm not gonna stay for you, you know, like you have your own issues, you've somehow found a way to come to terms with it, but that's not me, and they did me wrong, and I'm, you know, I can't just forgive that. And I thought that was just so powerful that his Padawan could do what he couldn't, and that she could walk away when she knew that she was wronged, and she just couldn't like keep going, you know.
You kind of
It
got
was
to
so
wonder
powerful.
if it makes Anakin think if like if he's going to experience the same thing. Like is he at a point where he's kind of at that level of, well, I mean, I guess you've seen the next 2 seasons, but um
I
it,
I want to talk
it
about this so much.
it makes me wonder if he's already anticipating that the Jedi, this obviously proves that the Jedi could do the same to him.
Yes.
And
This is
Mace
this is
Windu
the
was
whole
already
show.
very Mace
This is
Windu was
the
also not trusting of Anakin going out to seek her out.
Oh, I know.
I'm pretty sure it was Windu. Then again, Kia Diamundi was kind of a dickhead about it too, but
Yeah,
fucking conehead.
I know.
But but yeah, yeah, Windu, they also kind of established that because like he was not a fan of Anakin from the start.
Mhm.
I don't believe he wanted Anakin to be accepted into the Jedi Order. I think he was another part of the ilk that were like, hey, no, he's too old. Doesn't matter
Mhm.
if we don't know if he's the chosen one. And then in Revenge of the Sith, he expresses very plainly that he's not really a big fan of Anakin.
Yeah.
Take a seat, fucking Skywalker. Like he might as well have
Yeah.
said that.
Mhm. Mhm.
And there was a line in Revenge of the Sith where he told Anakin's like, if this is true, you've earned my trust, which shows that he didn't have it.
Right.
And we're seeing that now. Like we're seeing that context being laid out.
Well,
And so this is again an instance of the Clone Wars justifying a lot of stuff that
yes.
happened in the prequels
Yes.
and giving us that context that didn't matter. It honestly it makes the prequels a little bit easier to watch
Oh, so
uh,
much.
under those circumstances. And
Except
I
it's the
imagine when I
reverse.
see and I imagine in the next 2 seasons I'm going to see even more of that. And that's the point where after that I'm probably going to have to watch the prequels again.
It's almost like they did a reversal, whereas the Clone Wars was supposed to separate the big films, or not separate, supplement the big films. It's almost like the big films are supplementing Clone Wars, because uh you don't, yeah, we've talked about this. You just, in the movies alone, you did not see enough to justify Anakin's turmoil. And you know, you saw that brotherhood between him and Obi-Wan, and you're like, seriously, what? what drama am I missing here? And that is what Clone Wars is. And his relationship with Ahsoka, I feel in this scene, in the other scenes, is so it's so rich, man. I feel like he has a stronger relationship with Ahsoka than he does with Padme. I feel like they focused so much and enriched his story with Ahsoka that this right here broke him, and it was a
Uh,
big moment.
yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Padme was in this season at all.
If she was, it was very minimal. The whole show, it's very minimal. I mean, she has some scenes where she is, you know, and you're reminded that she's pregnant and stuff like that, and um, but yeah, she's not a big part of this show. It's supposed to show what we didn't see in the movies, and we saw too much lovey-dovey shit in the movies, and not enough of what tested Anakin internally.
So another interesting thing. So the final episode
Mhm.
was actually Palpatine was actually voiced by Tim Curry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the voice actor Ian Abercrombie died in January of 2012,
Oh,
and
wow.
so Tim Curry actually voiced is his first credited appearance as Palpatine's voice
Wow.
in
Yet
January
another
2012.
iconic villain role for
Yep.
Tim Curry. so
Um,
so it the clown was Sidious at one point. That's crazy. That's so
uh,
crazy.
man, it's just yeah, it was great storytelling, and
This
I'm really stoked to see the next two seasons for the first time now too. I'm really excited for that.
so if I understand this correctly, this is where it originally ended, and then the next season was is technically called the Lost Episodes, and that's what was on Netflix, and then season 7 is on Disney. So originally this was like the ending until Netflix saved it a bit. This was the ending, and it's interesting because it kind of works because
It really does.
you don't see Ahsoka in Revenge of the Sith, but so much happens between this point and the end of Clone Wars that I'm like, thank God they did this because so much happens that I'm like, to have not had those final two seasons is incredible. But again, if I had watched this real time and this was the end, I would have felt sad that there was not more. But it kind of works. It kind of works.
It would have been I gotta somewhat disagree. I think this would have been a great place for them to end it if they had not continued on. Because
Sure, if
it
they had not
sets it
continued on.
because it does set enough of the context for to justify a lot of what happens in the prequels,
Right.
specifically in Revenge of the Sith. The first two, not necessarily, but
Yeah.
yeah, this it's great. It's just good. It's
It's
just
so
good
good.
storytelling, and I cannot wait to continue. But um, that kind of leaves us at the end of this episode.
Yeah, it does, man.
Um, so
Welcome to season 3.
welcome
Yeah.
to season 3. So the future of Nerfherders from here is kind of want to say business as usual, but we're gonna amp things up. Like
Hmm.
I said, I my goal is to watch more movies, which is going to prompt me reviewing more movies.
Hmm.
Reviewing movies. Like we don't have a lot of reviews on this channel as far as films go that I have done. You've done more reviewing content than I have, I think, or at least we've done more together than we had done before. A lot of it was trailer reactions at first. Um, we will do trailer reactions again. We will continue those when there are more trailers to react to. Like honestly, there are some trailers that I haven't seen yet that you and I should probably talk about getting some reactions done to. You might have seen them already, but um, there's a lot's going to change in the next few months as far as the movie industry goes and the entertainment industry goes because things are opening up enough to where people can start developing content again
Yeah, we're on the
on a
cusp
limited basis.
of something happening too
Yeah,
with
I don't know particularly if things are necessarily safe for things to start opening back up again, but
Yeah.
I think we've had enough time to where safe measures can be implemented to where people are actually starting to put that together. I mean, we're seeing movie crews like quarantining together and stuff like that to make what they need to make. Um, so yeah, we're gonna see some more movie reviews. Josh, I believe you're gonna be doing more anime reviews, or more first time anime watches and stuff like that.
Yeah, this is what the next one will be on Wicked City. I
Nice.
just need to film my afterthoughts on it, but
Okay.
that was really interesting. So yeah, that'll be coming out pretty soon.
So I've only got a few more episodes. I think. Let's see. Let's see, one, maybe 3 or 4 episodes more of the Jedi Fallen Order series. So that is almost done.
Okay.
If you've been watching along with that, thank you. I really appreciate that. It's that I knew that one was going to have some trouble, but I wanted to do it anyway. Because I was jumping into that game so late into the game as far as content goes. I played it almost immediately at release. But the future is looking really bright for Nerfherders, and we're having a really good time creating content for you guys. Hit us up on social media, be a part of the conversation. Let us know what you would like us to talk about on future episodes of the podcast. We're trying to stick to our normal schedule of 2 a week. I don't necessarily see it jumping up to more than that, but maybe we jump more content in there as we can, and don't go on super long rants about Sonic the Hedgehog. But also the podcast side, we're gonna do a little bit more gaming. We're gonna have more movie reviews, trailer reactions, all sorts of stuff, and we want to include our audience as much as possible. So hit us up on social media, comment on these videos, subscribe if you haven't already, hit the like button if you like this, hit the dislike button if you didn't. Be honest, we can take it. Let us know what you'd like us to do different. If it's something that lines up with our vision for what this will be, then absolutely we'll see what we can do. If it's not, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to do what we want. We're not going to bow down like that. But thank you, Nerfherders. A very belated happy first birthday to Nerfherders. We're thankful for all the subscribers that we've gained so far, and super appreciative for any subscribers that we gain here in the future. So thank you for sticking with us. Welcome to season 3. Things are going to be changing, and I'm looking forward to it.
One
Josh,
one
how you
big
feeling?
change. One big change I'm looking forward to is getting rid of this thing, which is tomorrow night. The mustaches for kids
done with
thing.
it now?
It ends tomorrow night. So this might be the last. Well, no, you'll probably see it in the Wicked City video because I had a mustache when I watched Wicked City, so you'll probably see it there. But this will be the last podcast that you'll see this mustache.
You're
I'm
done
gonna
with
shave
it
it off. I'll be baby faced for a minute, but then I'll be growing back my normal scruff. So I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this lip rug. I got to get rid of it. But I am excited, man. I'm excited about what we've been doing with this platform. I want to test its limits. I still think we could probably do better with these overlays. This is kind of a simple setup. I like it, but I think
we were just getting started.
I want to challenge myself more.
For us.
Yeah, I want to challenge myself more. I like what we've been doing so far, though, and man, I just can't believe we didn't do this earlier. I mean, I was looking at that. I want to show that picture. Do I still have that picture? Let me show you that picture that I posted on Facebook, because it really was a testament to what we've been doing. It's right here. Yeah. It's really a testament to what we've been doing since February, man. I mean, we've really kept at this, and I'm really proud of it, man. I'm really proud of the work we did.
Yeah.
Let me share this. Look at this here. Oh, whoops. Oh my gosh, that's get it bigger. Get it bigger. There you go. Look at all that freaking content. That is a lot of content that we did since February 25th. That's a lot.
And it is only it's like that's only the podcast and some of your videos. That's not including the Fallen Order stuff. That's not including
Right.
like some of the most recent episodes.
Right.
Like
Right.
and again, like you said, just from February.
And all
It was
these
just when we kicked off this method of the podcast. Like it's
right. And we're gonna get these up on YouTube. And you, if you see this little logo right here, it means it's an audio only podcast. But we still want to make that as easy as it can for everybody to get to it.
Yeah.
But I made these thumbnails so you can kind of see what we talked about. But look at all those audio ones we did and how easy these video ones have been. I feel like we should have done this a long time ago, but I'm glad we're doing it now. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what season 3 brings, and glad it's here.
and honestly, we're only gonna continue to advance. That's really the big part of it. I hope you guys like the new graphics. I had fun making those. I'll be making some more. The I wanted it to be a little bit more fun. Like the first logo that we did, I had a lot of fun with that, but it was also a little bit more it was a little bit more serious than I think we actually are. So I wanted to chill us out a little bit. So I really like what you did with the red, like getting rid of the white and putting that red glow in there. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. It's good logo, man. It's good color scheme. Me and you
thank you.
jive really well with colors. So
Good stuff.
I'm looking for the main thing. The immediate thing I'm looking forward to in season 3 is talking about the rest of Clone Wars and Rebels, because I for some reason for the longest time thought that you were caught up and that you'd seen season 6,
Nope.
that you'd seen season 7 and all of Rebels, and there's so much to talk about. So this is gonna go on for a while. So you need to hurry up.
I'll jump right on that.
Jump on it, man.
So yeah, until our next episode, yeah, just here in a few days. Actually, that'll be this. I'm calling this episode 1.1.2 or 1B or something like that.
This episode is actually longer than the first episode, so I don't think you could do that. I think
all right, fine.
It's episode 2 on YouTube.
Fuck it.
Yeah, yeah.
You created separate thumbnails for it too, so I guess it matters.
That's right.
So I guess it's
That's
fine.
right.
But all right, yeah. Thank you, Nerfherders. We really look forward to making more content with you guys. I hope that you guys enjoy it. And hit us up on social media. Be a part of the conversation. Subscribe, follow, whatever you want to do. We will see you guys again soon. Take it easy.
See ya.